the importance of this right now at this time. It's an emergency session. That's that urgency to it.
We lose in Ohio 3 to 4 people every single day who die of an overdose of pain meds or heroin. And what we're doing today is really calling an emergency meeting with law enforcement throughout the state. I think we'll have 800 or 900 people here today from all over Ohio. And what we're trying to do is really have sharing of ideas. For the first time in my lifetime, we're seeing law enforcement really looking at a drug epidemic and a drug problem from a holistic point of view. I think most of the officers who are here today and the people who will be speaking will say that we cannot arrest our way out of this problem. We have to do more. We have to do more treatment. We have to do more prevention. So what we're going to talk about today is different departments around the state, different sheriffs, different chiefs, talking about some of the things they're doing in their own community. And the whole idea is that people will come here and maybe come back with 1, 2, or 3 new ideas about how to deal with the drug problem.
Do you have any specific ideas that you've come across that are working the idea of backtracking to find if someone dies of an overdose, backtracking to the dealer, all those types of things, making a crime scene, making it a crime scene when a heroin overdose is?
Well, one of the things we're going to talk about today is how officers really need to treat when there's an overdose, that is a crime scene. Because someone is responsible for that, and we want to try to hold someone responsible. We want to hold the people who are selling those drugs responsible. And if it's overdose and the individual dies, we're starting to see more and more county prosecuting attorneys filing homicide charges. So we really need to treat it as a crime scene, and so we're going to have a discussion about that. Another thing that I think is very exciting is we have several different departments in the state who are really focused on treatment and basically follow the emergency squad to the hospital, and if the person lives, use that really as a teachable moment for the family and for that individual. So for example, in Toledo, Lucas County, the sheriff is partnering with my office in a program where they really have a police officer, actually a sheriff's deputy, who is assigned to someone who's had an overdose but who has survived. And he goes or she goes to that person who's had the overdose and try to convince them, hey, this is the time to get into treatment. And not only urge them to get into treatment, but help them actually get into treatment. The other part of the program is once they get out of treatment, trying to have kind of a halfway house. One of the things that we've seen is that when people come out of treatment, one of the reasons that they keep lapsing back, having these relapses, is because they go back to the same friends, the same community, and it's just very tough for them not to start back on the drug. So a halfway house gives them an opportunity to edge back into the community. So these are just ideas, and if you look around the room, we've got people from all over the state of Ohio, and they're bringing their ideas, and we're going to share those today.
Can you talk about your stance on Narcan or naloxone that's become a big thing, you know, carrying them in ambulances in schools, etc. Can you talk about what the tool that is? For
a number of months, I've been urging law enforcement throughout the state to carry naloxone. Most of our paramedic squads, most of our medic squads, first responders are carrying that today. And I will guarantee you that today in Ohio, there will be a number of people whose lives are saved because they were carrying this naloxone. We're going to have something pretty dramatic today. We're going to actually show a video that our team compiled when we went with first responders to someone who had overdosed. And you're going to see that person literally brought back to life. And it's a real film. The other thing we're going to see is 2 people who are going to be on a panel today who were saved, who were brought back to life with naloxone, and who are recovering and are doing fine.
The idea of jails, seeing in Hamilton County alone, half the population there last year came in with some sort of heroin tie.
You know, the biggest detox centers in the state, unfortunately, are our county jails. You know, years ago, sheriffs didn't think that they had to deal with somebody detoxing, besides a few alcoholics that might be thrown in jail. But now, well over half the people that most sheriffs are dealing with in their county jails are detoxing right there in front of them, and so they have to deal with that. So again, that's going to be one of the discussion points today.
How do you provide more funding? How do you provide more assistance to them to help that situation? Because a lot of them, it's recidivism. They're back and they're back and they're back.
Yeah, I think the key in each community is for law enforcement to fully understand what resources are in the community. And law enforcement cannot do this by themselves. They have to reach out to the treatment community. They have to reach out to the prevention community. You know, communities that I've seen across the state that are starting to successfully fight back against heroin, successfully fight back against pain meds, are communities where they've gotten so sick of seeing their kids die that they kind of rise up in a grassroots effort and start fighting back. And it can be very effective as long as the entire community gets involved. And you have to have the churches. One of the reasons we're having this in a church today is to send the signal churches need to be involved in fighting this heroin epidemic. The business community has to be involved. We've had some communities where the business community or a local businessman or woman has put up the money for an educational program. So what works is when a community all comes together. We have 5 people on my staff. They do nothing other than work out into the communities and try to get one community to understand what seems to be working in other communities. Again, it's a sharing of information.
Is there I'm sorry, go ahead. Is there a repeating demographic you guys are seeing of this, or is this across the board, anybody, everybody?
Whoever is watching this right now, this can affect and may already be affecting someone who's close to you. You know, the face of heroin is the face of Ohio. We've never seen an epidemic that has been as widespread geographically, where in a rural community it's more likely to be, let's say, in Adams County or Brown County than it is in Cincinnati. Or it's more likely to be in Knox County than it is in Franklin County. So it's a very different type epidemic. You know, hit Appalachia first with the pain meds, but it's now in every single county in the state.
Is the issue of treatment beds, is that still a problem, getting more and more?
Yeah, I think we still have a problem with treatment. There's several problems. One is availability. But the other problem that is much easier to deal with is making sure people understand what's available. For example, we're going to have a session today that's talking about Medicaid. You know, officers need to know what is available, and Medicaid many times is a place where that is paid for, action is paid for. So, again, what you'll see today is a holistic approach to this problem. It's not just going to be law enforcement task forces we're going to talk today about. In fact, mostly we're going to talk about things that are not historically in the realm of law enforcement, but that law enforcement now has to become involved in. We just can't. Law enforcement is many times the ones who are seeing these individuals first. They see them in their county jail, and so law enforcement has to understand treatment. Law enforcement has to understand prevention.
Year over year, overdose deaths, the number keeps going up. When do these types of programs and efforts have an effect on that number?
Yeah. I don't think the end is in sight to this epidemic. We don't have numbers, complete numbers for 2015 yet. We may in 2015 have seen a slight beginning of a leveling off, certainly not a decrease. But the only reason that is not going dramatically up is naloxone. If you added in the number of people who are saved with naloxone, it would be, many, many times the number of people who died. So naloxone and its administration, we're going to show it today. But it's something we encourage every police department, every sheriff's department in the state to be a part of, and to get it and teach the people how to use it. Okay?
Thanks, sir.